Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, Friday, May 19th. We have a 12-game main slate and then a 3-game early turbo, whatever slate. I just I get annoyed because they keep adding games before normal start time and we never get them. Um, Maybe even more annoyed about it today since two of my favorite pitchers of baseball are on that slate, and Zach Gallen and Shane McClanahan. But we will take a look here at the main slate using DraftKings, of course, since that is where a majority of my MLB action is played. First look weather-wise, we do have a huge issue going on in St. Louis. So I'm going to skip over those two pitchers. Not that I think I would play either of them today, but uh, just definitely going to skip over them. Let's start here at the top. Joe Ryan is going to be a favorite going to LA. Throwing the ball great this season. One pretty rough start from a run standpoint, but still racked up the Ks. One not so great start um, at Boston, and then Cleveland. He just didn't get it done all too much, but uh, he's had some phenomenal starts. I don't really love picking on the Angels necessarily, but the ballpark is big enough. The ball at night in LA doesn't fly, or Anaheim, I guess, doesn't fly that well. So, um, no problem using Joe Ryan. Not going to be my preferred. That's going to fall on Alcantara. I know he's had some rough starts, hasn't been clean all that much. He obviously shut out the Twins early in the season. Still has, strong K ability, ground ball rates, going into a big ballpark in San Francisco. He is a slight underdog, uh, but I think it's a great spot. I think that game itself is just great for pitching. Um, so I think if you're in a lot of things, there's going to be quite a bit of ownership on that last game of the night uh, from a pitching standpoint. Bryce Miller's been electric, giving up just one run in his three starts. K's numbers are dropping. He's a fly ball guy going into Atlanta against a powerful team. I don't think I can get there. Atlanta does represent some K upside, but there's just so much power in that lineup that I don't think I want to pay 9,400 for him. Uh, I would probably rather go with Elder in that game. Uh, he doesn't have the same kind of stuff that Miller does, but I think he's in a better spot against Seattle. Uh, he's not somebody I'm going to prioritize just because I don't really like the 9,200 price point in the spot, but he's definitely in play for me. Stroman, I probably consider, but I don't really love the spot. Coming off of a rough start, hasn't been as strong on the road. Philadelphia's offense should wake up at some point, I'd like to believe. Um, and then obviously because of the two guys that are cheaper than him right here are is another reason why I probably won't get too much Stroman, if at all. Discofani's had a couple of rough starts in a row. K numbers aren't really there, which is kind of surprising. But he does get the Marlins at home, weak offense. He has struggled a bit more at home, which is worrisome. But his K numbers are up at home, so that we get the bonus there. Um, he is a slight favorite over Alcantara. Like I said, that this game is the one I want to target for pitching the most. Blake's now at home against Boston. Boston prefers to be left-hand heavy. Uh, their lineup gets a little weaker when they all of a sudden have to put Rob Refsnyder in the leadoff for the three spot. Um, I mean, it's always dangerous with these walk numbers. He can give up a home run, giving up a home run basically in every start or averaging a home run allowed in every start. But we get games like this against the Dodgers where he allows just one hit in 6 innings. So uh, he hasn't shown gigantic upside yet this season, but we know it's there. When everything comes together, it's going to be there. Uh, you know, if he doesn't make a couple mistakes here in Cincinnati, I could see a route where he would add 30 fantasy points rather than 21. So I'm going to go back to Snell. Maybe I'm pot committed at this point. I don't know, but uh, the upside's there. Paxton looked spectacular in his return to baseball after a couple of years. San Diego's offense hasn't been a juggernaut yet, so maybe there is a route to GPP upside. I want to dig into his stuff a little bit more from that first start just to see. Um, but he has had a couple extra days rest since then. So maybe his second start shouldn't be too bad. It is a tough matchup, but those K that he had in his first start against the St. Louis team that was putting up a bunch of runs at that time, um, and have continued to put up a bunch of runs. So that might not be a bad spot for us to get a little different, uh, but it's worrisome. I'll say that. And go down below. Not really interested in Kikuchi against Baltimore. Probably could be all right. He's kind of alternated good and bad starts recently. K numbers kind of bounce all around now. Probably wouldn't be a terrible option. He's been a ton stronger at home, um, so maybe I have to consider him. I don't know. Normally, I like Baltimore against left-handed pitching, but they let me down a little bit yesterday. Maybe they're coming back down to earth. I know Mateo has struggled, and he was a big reason why they were doing so well against left-handed pitchers. Reed Detmers against the Twins is going to be an option just because he has a ton of K upside. Uh, and the Twins lineup should be weakest against left-handed pitching. Buxton has struggled against lefties, and then obviously Kirilloff, Gallo, and Larnick, they're big power options, and Kirilloff has been pretty solid since being recalled, are all left-handed. Uh, so that kind of counteracts some of that. So I do have interest in Detmers. He just hasn't been sharp. He makes mistakes. There's some walks. He looks so dominant for a few innings, and then all of a sudden the wheels kind of fall off. But at home, I like the spot. Martin Perez should be pretty popular. Has struggled the last couple, but he's taken on Oakland at home. You see at home, he's only made two home starts. He's allowed just 2 runs. Numbers overall are better at home. He's still allowing a lot of base runners. So he's navigating some tricky innings. Not a big K guy at all, but I think he's probably one of the safest options down here. So I can see him pretty popular in cash games. And since it's against Colorado, I think he's a solid GPP option. Just because we've seen him put up strong performances in the past. Um, as early as just last year. So he can definitely bounce back and put together a great performance. Scrolling down to the bottom area, I want to consider Matthew Boyd against Washington, but he just hasn't been great. K numbers have been all over the place. He has had a couple solid performances recently, so I am kind of interested in Boyd. It's not one I'm excited to utilize, but I think he's in play. I really do. Jake Irvin on the other side, maybe. I mean, he had a dominant performance against San Francisco. Detroit's pretty weak, but I don't know that I want to trust somebody like Jake Irvin in my builds. Brandon Belak is a name that I think I'm going to end up overweight on. Obviously, I don't know what ownership projections are out there yet, but coming off a great start against the White Sox, was solid against San Francisco in his long relief, stepping in. He did struggle against Seattle, which is, it'll happen. He still only allowed 2 earned in 4 2/3, but he allowed a ton of base runners. Taking on Oakland at home, I think it's a pretty solid spot for him. Um, can strike some guys out, obviously, or he could just not strike anybody out, apparently, but should be around the 90 pitch range, so I guess he should be good to go. 6,200 seems like a pretty fair price in that spot. I want to be able to use Ranger Suarez, but I think I want to see him back fully before I start considering him. Just because 6,300 for his pure upside is really intriguing. The run he went on to finish the 2021 season won us a ton of money at DFS Army because we just jumped on him every 5 days and he rewarded us. So maybe I have a soft spot, for what he was able to do for us. But at some point he's going to be in play. I'm just not sure if it's in this spot. So there's a look at the pitching options today. Constructing an early pitcher pool with some question marks that we will figure out during the day, and I will update the chat and in my notes. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get an alert every time we drop videos. You want to join us at DFS Army, I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off your monthly membership. And as always, best of luck, everybody.